I hate failing. Definitely. What I hate even more is failing on an empty stomach. Small question for you. Who can have interest in a deep frozen Colgate beef lasagna? In lunches far in the past? Anyone? I have a marketing background, so seeing this for me is extremely funny. It's the moment where you go, what were these people thinking? This will never work. And it didn't. And although it's funny to see other people fail in various ways, I still don't like to do it. And like Peter was saying, I am a Scrum Master, I'm an Agile coach, I've been doing this for decades. And I've been surrounded by slogans like these for what feels like an eternity. When we talk about de-save environments, when we talk about fail fast and move forward, I still don't like failing. And who of you enjoys failing? The big question is, why? Why is this something that we should do, but we're actually not enjoying at all? So in this session we're going to talk about the human aspect of failure. We need to understand that better before we can see which impact this can have on our daily business. Why we don't like to fail in this sentence is because fail is a bad word. It is. It is a negative word. It hurts. You can use it in a positive sentence. It does not change the word itself. It is painful. And we don't want that. And from a very personal experience as a Scrum Master, and I've used this many times before, shame, is that when we were sitting in a retrospective, there's a meeting at the end of a cycle or sprint when people decide how can we do things better in the future. We come up with ideas, and I often used to say, let's go for a couple of these ideas. If they don't work, we just abandon them and we go back to the way it is and find out something new. I recorded that session once and I played it back. It sounds terrible. It's not motivating. It does not give any kind of confidence. It gives the impression of, let's try something. We're not sure it's going to work. But if it doesn't work, we'll be in the same as the situation as we're in now and have to find something else. It does not inspire confidence. As a sentient being, as humans that we are, if we complete a task successfully, our body instinctively releases an amount of chemicals into our brains, such as testosterone or dopamine. These have a very beneficial effect on our brain. And when this happens on a regular basis, what our brain does is it will physically alter its composition into making a sort of path in your brain that will make this experience easier. You will learn faster, you will become more efficient, you will become better trained because your brain is physically altering its composition to have this path for you laid out. This is how you reach mastery, for example. Biologists and neuropsychologists name this the winner effect. And that's where we want to be as much as possible. There's a book by Dr. Ian Robertson, for example, he's a neuropsychologist, it's even called the winner effect. Now we go to the opposite side. We have 1888, Twilight of the Idols, Friedrich Nietzsche, often quoted in the sense of what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. Well, scientifically speaking, if you fail, it does kill you a little bit. Not literally, but what happens to us when we fail is, if you unsuccessfully complete a task, your brain immediately creates an aversion towards what you were doing. It's an instinct. You cannot do anything against that. Your brain is telling you, this was a mistake, let's not do it again, let's abandon ship. We're going to do something else. And it can go into two directions after that. The first direction is, you look at what was going wrong, and you try to solve that. And it does exactly what I'm telling you. You zoom in, and you limit your point of view into trying to solve a problem. Problem solving is a very short-term pain relief. It's a little bit of tinkering here and there in the hopes that it fixes something and you'll feel a little bit better. The second thing your brain can do is the opposite. And is Eddie still here? Eddie was talking about the holistic view. There's the second thing your brain can do, is doing a step backwards and looking at the whole system as a whole in a holistic view and look at opportunities and chances on how to do things differently. A great example for that, you can see that, is in sports. If you look at athletes in an individual discipline, or even if you look at American Ninja Warrior on YouTube, if those people fail at what they're doing, you can see it. Not only their body is hurting, but you can see that they go to a mental pain as well. They are in that state of aversion. Now, what's very important is, no athlete is trained to fail fast. Athletes are trained to win, to succeed. So they're trained in a certain emotional resilience. Their brains are being trained as well as their bodies. And they go through certain stages. The first one, I failed. Self-compassionate, I'm not in a good position with my brain right now. This is not, I need to do something about it. And what you see them do very often is that they seem to space out. They fully retreat into their own world, and they sort of concentrate. Now, if you speak to sport coaches and athletes, what they do is they do that step back and they visualize the whole thing that they have to do again and how they're going to do it. Not the small mistake they made, no. They go over the whole process and they visualize victory. They literally think themselves to win. Now, as a human being, we either want to be in the winner effect, or we want at least our brain to be in that second stage. We want to go forward with learning. It was very easy to not do this. And now that we know how we as a human instinctively react to success and failure, how does this impact us and our daily business? What can we actually do with it? So I want to give two examples of what happened to me and the teams I was working in, and give you two big tips and a very easy tool that you can use so that you cannot go down the same path again, or at least not make my mistakes again. Which would be very helpful. The management team of a rather sizable agile transformation said that, all this talk about self-organized and empowered teams. If you are working in agile context or transforming, it's big. It's everywhere in every project and every transformation. It's what teams should become. And I said, well, I think that we're getting there. Technically, teams are good. But we need to poke them a little bit. We need to put some fire under the teams and find out what do they need to get that empowered feeling. I was a Scrum Master at the time, I was going like, yes! Management team that wants to put energy and focus into that. That's awesome! That's great! So we sat together with the team, we involved HR, some members of the team said, okay, we need to come up with a number of activities where We build on what makes you guys feel empowered in your daily work. Let's go and do this. And we come with some activities to do on regular workshops, some sessions after their perspectives. Very enthusiastic, very fun. And it was, I think, after the second sprint, one of the activities was going on, and Paolo, he's an Italian developer, usually very, very lively. He was sitting next to me, looked at me and said, Pete, you don't pronounce the R. Why are we doing this again? Oh, Paolo, you were in the workshops together with me. We want to stoke the fire under the teams to make sure that you feel empowered enough to get better and more efficient and self-organized. Yeah, that's okay, but I'm confused with it. What are we trying to achieve? And at that moment, I realized that Paolo was absolutely right. Because although it was fun, and we were enthusiastic, and we were trying a lot of things, and we were learning a lot of things, we actually did not know what we wanted to achieve. And that's not the only team. If you talk about self-organized, empowered, better communication, more feedback, those are terms, they mean a lot, but you can't measure a lot against them. And although we were having fun, we were going absolutely nowhere. So we had to wipe off this initiative completely off the table and start anew with actually 4 basic questions. What do we want to achieve? Why are we doing this? And the last part is, once I've done this measurement, what happens next? What you want is a G for clear goals and a C for consequences. What do we do with all our initiatives if they're going right? And what do we do with our initiatives if they're not going right? And that meant starting over again. A little bit confusing, but okay, at least we had something that had a tangible mass to measure. And in many of the projects, and maybe some of you are in it as well, where you have either coaches or consultants, how do you know you're a good coach? Or how do you know your coach is good? If you never thought about that, think about it on your way home. What makes a good coach? What is the impact that you want him or her to have? Goals, consequences. A couple of years ago, when I was borrowed out to another company, speaker says, wow. We just released the playtest for a new mobile game. And playtest means it goes to actual users. They play it and you get data in from the reviews and you get their feedback. And although it wasn't that bad, numbers were also not that great. So studio management told us that, okay, in order for this to succeed, you need to up your 2-day retention by 6%. 2-day retention in the mobile market is a very, very important thing. For a mobile game, it basically means how fun is your game to make people come back the second day to play it again. This is the first milestone you have to reach. You have the peak of downloads and users, and then it's normally slowly decays into 7-day retention, 14-day retention, 28-day retention. Why you want that second-day retention to be as high as possible, because based on that number, you calculate how much users you're going to have and how loyal your player base will be, so that you can then see, do we have a sufficient basis for our business model, our money-making machine? Is it going to bring in enough money? So they said, okay, 6% up in 2-day retention. On the mobile market, that is quite a challenge. That's not that easy. Fortunately enough, we had the best designers ever, according to the designers. And they came up with 4 different solutions. Because they found out that the base mechanics of the game, all fine, but the feedback came from the power-ups. Everything that you can buy and shoot, blow up, use, anything that makes the game alive and fun. So the seller said, okay, we have 4 versions that we want to try out. And we think, let's fire them up and see how they compare to the original. Okay, let's do it. 4 versions compared to the original. Some numbers came in, some promising ones, some tweaks here, some tweaks there. Again, learning very, very fast. I mean, these guys were able to push a build out in 3 to 4 days to the users. I mean, you cannot get faster learning than that almost. So although we were learning a lot, after week 2 or 3, I think we were almost eaten by the data scientists. They said, this is fine what you're doing now, and the idea okay as well, but if you look at your 4 solutions now, how are you going to bring this back into the game? Because all of your solutions, all of your learning paths have good things and bad things. But what you want to achieve is one game. And now you have a bunch of things available, you have a lot of information and improvements and learnings available to you, but you don't know how they will interact with each other. And there we were. And although we tried to gather and summarize all the things we knew and had learned in a short period of time into one game, it did turn out to be the disaster we feared it to be. We did not get secondary retention, meaning that 30 people working for 9 months on a game had to go back to the prototyping phase. And not even all of them, because the prototyping team is not 30 people. What is the main key behind that? If you want to win, if you want to succeed, make sure you have enough focus. You can have ideas, you throw a bunch of stuff against the wall, you can hope that one sticks. And maybe you will get lucky, and one actually does. But for all the rest, you have no clue. Now in the whole lean industry, the agile business, user-centric design, people say, we follow the scientific methodology. Well, then we should follow the scientific methodology. Science is there to answer questions that bring us forward. Science does not throw a million balls against the wall. They prototype a certain solution, they very carefully test it, they get results in, they analyze their results, and only when they are happy, then the path forward will be created. And if you want to build for success, you have to do the same thing. You need to focus, you need to measure what you're doing, and you need to make your adaptations based on the focus that you were having in the beginning of your experiment, in the beginning of your trial. Too many things just create confusion. It will end nowhere. For all this together, there is a very, very simple technique that all of you can use as a change and thought leader that will help you to do the opposite of fear. And it is next time when someone steps up to you, any kind of fail fast ID, is you show the discipline, press the pause button, and you pause the win. Thank you.